Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here in front of everyone. Could you please repeat these signs after me? I'll do some signs, and if you could just repeat what I'm doing. Yeah, don't be shy. Yes, go ahead. Sorry, yeah. Can you see me? Yeah. Very good. Thank you very much. What you all just said was, hello, my name is Rehab. So unless your name was actually Rehab, it's not very useful, right? But I promise, by the end of this speech, just hang on there, and I'll teach you something more useful. That's a promise. Why did I choose to start this speech with sign language? For a very simple reason. Signs are all around us. Not a single one of us in this room that could wake up in the morning, carries on with their daily routine without encountering a number of signs. These signs could vary. These signs vary from traffic signs, for example, that tell us, that protect us and others on the roads out there. Warning signs telling us not to do a particular thing. Guiding signs that tell us what to do or what not to do. Directional signs telling us how to get to a place that we want to go to. Some of the signs are even not visual. Some of the signs are like the medical signs, for example, the blood pressure, the sugar level. In this cluster of signs that we go through on daily basis and we see and encounter every day, it's very easy for us to unpick on some critical and vital signs for us that could show us things that we're missing, things that are very important in our lives that could help us do a change or take a certain path or do something or leave a habit that we're doing. Let me tell you a story about this girl who failed at some stage in her life in looking at these signs and understanding these signs and in taking actions towards the signs that kept coming her way. And what happened to her? So once upon a time, there was this girl who, after graduating from college, joined a company at its launching phase. Those of you who have either worked in a launching company or have launched their own business know exactly what that means, working in a launching company. She used to work for long hours, from early morning until late at night, sometimes up to 11 or 12 a.m., so 11 p.m. There were no breaks, no meals. She used to receive more than 90 calls per day, receiving customers, serving those customers, sometimes even during weekends. Her life was basically all about work and her very hectic routine. Every day, around 7, 8 o'clock at night, she would feel a little dizzy, not knowing the reason, only to realize that she did not have anything to eat all day. So, of course, she did not have enough time for her to go and have a proper meal, so she would munch on some crackers and bottled juice. And that was her life. She used to spend her whole day and night at work, doing nothing at all, except working. During the weekends, she was too tired and too exhausted to do anything at all, to have fun, or to go out with friends, or to spend time with family, or to enjoy hobbies that she always enjoyed doing, or to do any simple activity that could bring her that joy or that satisfaction or things that she would love to do. She was too exhausted. All she wanted to do is just relax because it was such a hectic, long week. And during all those days, during all those 9 years that she worked in that company, God has sent her a lot of signs that came right in front of her eyes. She would think one day that she needs to stop doing something, or she needs to do a change in life. She needs to start taking a new opportunity. She needs to think of a change in her life, do something for herself, for her family. And God kept sending those signs. The day she would think of doing something, someone would call and offer her a new opportunity, or she would read something somewhere in the newspaper or an ad somewhere of a place she always thought of visiting or being there or trying a new skill, a new talent. But she simply chose to ignore all those signs. She simply chose to continue to do what she always did, work hard and have no life. Until that one day where she came across this incident in her life. She lost her sister, a sister that was not just a sister to her, but more like a best friend, a coach, a mentor, someone, that one person we all have in our life where we could share the simplest and the silliest detail with without feeling silly about. That was like a huge sign, the biggest sign ever that has encountered her life. That was not just a sign, it was a huge wake-up call that the word has sent her way. And that just made her stop and realize the pause Dr. Lamia was talking about earlier, that was the pause. She paused and thought, what has she achieved? Was it really all worth it? Is it really worth it? Our lives are too short to be spent on things or incidents or routine that we don't find ourselves at. We might be having a bigger potential, a higher potential than what we are doing currently. She never thought she would experience such an incident, such a loss, such a huge loss in her life. And that just made her sit and realize, what if I die tomorrow? What will happen to me? And she thought that when people leave this world, when we leave this world, people don't remember us but by how hard we worked in this life. People will remember us by how we made this world a better place. How did we serve our environment and our community in a good way? How different we were in a good way. And that's when it hit her. She thought that she needed to leave something to the next generation. She needed to do something about it. And then she remembered all the signs that kept coming her way. And that's when the penny dropped. And that's the title of my speech, when the bizza dropped. It's the penny drop, but I gave it that Armani touch, so it sounds the bizza drop. Let me explain a bit about the title. I didn't know, but some of you might have heard that there is an English saying that says when the penny drops, and it means when the pieces of the puzzle starts to form and make a shape, or when everything starts to make sense. And that what happened to her. It all started to make sense, and she thought that this is what she wanted to do. She wanted to start doing what she always wanted to do. She wanted to start reading more, traveling more, meeting new people, people that she could learn from, and visit new countries, learn from their cultures, find her potential, understand what she wants to do. And she sat there and she looked at all the aspects that really mattered in her life. Her family, which she hardly got the time to spend with, her friends that she hardly met. She even lost some of her friendships because of the lack of time and the efforts that she did not put to continue that relationship. She looked at all these different aspects and she looked at what she wanted to change in each and every one of them. She wanted a stronger bond with her creator. She wanted to have more time with her family, with her friends. She wanted to learn new tasks, help others develop these tasks. And she knew that she has to start by doing these changes. She took an action point and she implemented them. And that's when she started taking all these actions. She met more people in her life, new people that would add to her life. She traveled more, she read more books, she learned new tasks. And from learning these new tasks and new skills and developing those skills and doing all these changes in her life, she started taking more care of herself, meditating, yoga, etc. And that made her realize her real potential. What she really wanted to do is start something that belonged to her, something she could leave to the next generation. She wanted to start her own business, help herself through that business and help others through the business as well. There, she came to a crossroad. For her to be able to start her business, she needed all the time that she did not have. She needed the time that she used to spend at work for her to be able to start that business that would be a time-consuming. And for her to leave that job meant the hugest risk ever. Everyone around her told her, including herself, that if she takes that step, that would be a huge risk. And only then, this sign came out of nowhere, from the back of her mind, a literal sign that was on top of her desk in the first job she was in for 7 months, that said, the biggest risk in life is not taking one. That sign was on top of her head every single day. It would be the first thing she would see every morning, whether she wanted or not. The first thing she would see whenever she would take a break from her work and raise her head, just for a few minutes, she would see that sign. And then it came to her, the biggest risk is not taking one. That would be the time. And when I say risk, I mean a calculated risk. She did all her homework, she did the studies, she did the planning, she studied the market, and she knew she was ready. And that was the time for her to take that risk. She resigned, and she took the first step in starting her own business. That wasn't easy either. She was met by all the different challenges you could expect. And those of you who have started their business or in the process of know exactly what that means. Rejections, lack of funding, negative people around you telling you you might not succeed. Are you sure you want to do this? But this time it was different. This time she knew, she looked at life in a different way now, and she knew that this is not going to stop her. If she really believed in something, everything in this world around her will work in a harmony to make it work. What exactly are you saying now? Please don't take this as a message to you to go tomorrow, resign, stay at home, go to sleep, and wait for that sign to come in your dream, because that's the opposite of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, go find your potential. Do different things that could help you find that thing that makes you different than others. Everything in this world happens for a reason. It doesn't matter what you believe in, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, in your energy, in karma, it doesn't matter. What really matters is, don't wait for the signs to come your way. Go out there, build your legacy, and the signs will follow. So, some people would ask, what would happen? What happens after that? What happens after you have followed the signs? And what happened to the girl in the story? This is what happened to the girl in the story. This is me, and that was my story. Thank you very much. I pursued that dream, and I decided that this is what I wanted to do. I found that potential, and I followed the signs, and this is where I got. And it doesn't mean that it will always end up the way you want it to. It doesn't mean that the business you've started will always succeed the way, or it will always develop the way you've always pictured it to. It doesn't mean that that dream you had will end up the way you want to see it. But at least now I know that I have taken that step. I did not decide to stay still and take no action. I will proudly tell my future kids that I took that risk, I found my potential, and I followed my signs. So that's perfect enough of, all that ideal talking. What do? People here, sitting here. This is a small tip. And it doesn't matter how old you are, what rank you're in, what's your job title, what have you achieved so far. It doesn't matter. You could all do this very small exercise later on. You could take some time off, that pause again that we were talking about. Take that time off, go somewhere. Time off, some people could be lucky enough to have 2 weeks of a time off. Some others could have a couple of hours. It doesn't matter. Just take that time off. Go somewhere you find relaxing, you find inspiring. Take your laptop, your iPad, your pen and paper. It doesn't matter. Just take that moment, take those few hours, sit and explore and think about what you've achieved so far and what are the things that really matter in your life. Your family, your spiritual life, your health, your career, anything. Could be anything, and people are different and their priorities are different. Look at them and start noting down at least one thing you would want to see or stop in that particular aspect. And then put in action and start working on it. Find that potential, follow the signs, and then the signs will follow, and I guarantee you that. And as I promised, I'll teach you something more useful by the end of the speech. Could you please repeat these signs after me? I love Oman. Thank you very much and have a great life.